Today I'm going to be installing a Nest E thermostat. The Nest includes both the display, the base, two wall screws, as well as a trim plate that's optional. First thing you need to do is to shut off power to your AC unit at your breaker box. For this install, I'm going to be removing an older Honeywell programmable unit that's connected to the addition that we have on our house. The first thing you're going to want to do is to pop off the cover of the thermostat. You can do that by simply pulling the actual thermostat off, and you'll see behind the thermostat there is a trim plate as well as two screws that connect the thermostat to the wall. So you're going to want to remove those two screws. Before removing those two screws, for my application, I don't intend to use the trim plate that's provided by Nest. As you can see, it's much smaller than what I have on there, and I already have different paint that's underneath there because these walls were painted after the air conditioner was replaced and that Honeywell was installed on there. So for this project, I'm not going to use the trim plate. I'm going to simply remove the old trim plate and touch up with some spackle as well as some paint that I was able to color match from Home Depot to the paint that we have on our walls. Before removing the wires or the faceplate, what you want to do is to take a picture of the connections on the thermostat, the wire connections, so that you have a record of that, so that you can go into the compatibility checker that they have on the Nest website and see exactly how your new thermostat will be wired. Before removing the trim plate, you are going to need to disconnect the wires that are connected to the old thermostat. Now, the third generation Nest did provide a screwdriver to do this, but the Nest E does not include this screwdriver. So for this project, I'm going to use my own flathead screwdriver to remove these connections. Once you have the screws loosened, you can easily just pull out each of the color-coded wires that are connected to the old thermostat. Now you're ready to remove the old base plate from the wall. For my situation, the thermostat was connected with two Phillips head screws drilled into the drywall. So I'll remove each of these screws, which will then allow me to pull the entire thermostat base off. With the old base removed, I can now remove the old trim plate as well, which reveals the previous colors that were painted on the wall, as well as the holes that were left behind from the old trim plates that were put on there. So I'm going to spackle those up prior to doing any painting on this. So I'm going to fast forward the video here so you can kind of show. I actually ended up putting a couple of coats of spackle on there, let it dry, just so I'd have a smoother surface when I painted over it. So after about an hour of letting the spackle dry, I was now in a situation that I could actually paint over the area with the new color matched paint. You can see it's a little bit different color here, but once it dries, it's pretty close to what the original color is. I can now put the new Nest E base. I can thread the wires through there and get it set up so it's lined up over the hole. And they've got a bubble level on the top of the base, which allows you to set up and ensure that your unit is going to be level and not crooked when you put it on the wall. So for me, I just put the first screw on the top there, and now using the bubble level, I'll then mark and push in the second screw on the bottom and then screw that second screw in so that we've got a nice level base unit put against the wall. The next step you're going to do is to reference back to the photo that you took of your old thermostat and the wiring configuration on that, and then go to Nest compatibility checker that they have online and use the wizard there to be able to create the new diagram of how the wires will connect to the new Nest E base unit. Once you've done that, you can bring that piece of paper with you, and for me, I separated the wires, and then you just slide the wires in horizontally into the holes until you see the push button go down on each of the sides. So for me, this is how my wiring is done with the 5 wires on the new Nest unit. Once I've got that wired up, I go and just snap the unit on there and then head back to the breaker box, turn the breaker back on, and you'll be able to go see immediately for me the Nest unit lights up. It's getting power now and it's going through its setup. It allows me to select the language that you need to use. And just go through the wizard on this and connect. It sets up here to be able to go and connect to your Wi-Fi that you have at home. And fairly quickly, the thermostat is online. Then you go and it will check to see if there's any software updates. And for mine, there were no updates needed. And then you select the location of where you live, what type of home you have. You can label or put a custom name in for your unit. For me, I did a custom name of the West Wing for our addition that we have on our house. So I've got a custom name, and now it starts to go through the heating and cooling settings that you want to have for it. You can go and set what your eco temperature is in the sense of what do you want to have for heat as well as for cool for economy. And then you press done and the unit's ready to be tested. I press the test now button and immediately the system air conditioning came on. So I had no issues whatsoever with getting the unit to work. Now there's a lot of additional programming that you can do that I'm not going to go through on this video here. But overall, I'm very satisfied with the Nest E thermostat. My final note on the Nest E thermostat is that they do have a pretty cool app that you can download that's both for Android as well as iOS that allows you to control your thermostats, the temperatures, and the schedules directly from your smartphone. I find this extremely convenient and it was an extremely easy setup as well. So I hope you found this review helpful, and again, thanks for watching.